and welcome to Something Wicked DocuFest 2024. We have some amazing interviews lined up for you this weekend. And if you happen to be watching this after the event, we hope that you enjoy this and you are watching it in companion to the actual film that is being featured today. Today, we are talking with Cameron. Cameron's the director. Well, I'm gonna let him explain exactly what he did on his film Bonsai Whisperer, because that's usually my first question is to tell everyone who you are, what you did on your film, and a little bit about the film so that they have an idea of how you approached your film.
My name is Cameron Kashani, and I'm the filmmaker, director, editor, and producer and writer of this movie. um, the movie is about a man in our neighborhood in Crozet, Virginia, who has turned his backyard garden into an oasis by raising little bonsai plants. And my goal was to introduce and make it as artistic and as educational as it could be. So it's about what he's doing, and I take the viewers through the process of raising and what it takes to grow these bonsai plants.
So you mentioned the perfect word. I wish I had thought about this word before now, but you called his garden an oasis, and the thing is, you begin the film with showing his oasis. That's a great. I'm gonna use that for this entire interview now,
Sure.
because I have never seen somebody with so many bonsai trees in his garden and the way he crafted it. I thought that was very interesting because to be honest with you, other than going to the Japan Fest here in Georgia, where we have an artist who sells his bonsai trees and showcases them, I have not really had any experience with bonsai trees at all. So watching that opening was was eye opening because you didn't show him through the opening. I forget how
Right.
he didn't actually show up for a little bit. You kind of go through the
There's a
motion.
glimpse of
Yeah,
him
yeah,
standing there. And
which I
then,
thought was brilliant.
yeah. And then basically I was kind of challenged because he was going to sell or give away all his plants. So he called me and said, run over, it's going away tomorrow. So my broad shots, I had to go there real quick and make the movie, and only had a chance to do it once, basically. The educational part that's inside, we set that up, but initially when you see the layout and the landscape, that only lasted a couple of days and then was gone. So
Oh wow, I did not think of it. Oh wow, I
yeah.
had no idea. But now the other aspect of your film that I thought was really good is the educational part, because the one of the first things you do is he goes through all the different types of tools that he actually uses, which I had no idea there was that many freaking tools to this. It's an art
I
form.
didn't either. That was the educational thing for me because I had to write up the scenario basically. I mean, he knows his stuff, but I had to lay it out for him and organize it in a fashion where it would be educational step by step. So somebody would know what they need to do if they want to get into this bonsai business. So
Did you have any no, I would say, did you have a reason for going out there and doing this to start with, or was it something that just kind of happened? Because unless you have like a background in loving bonsai tree, this was eye opening because it was like this is something I never thought about until now.
I don't have background in bonsai, but I have a background in gardening. Uh,
Ah,
I was a master gardener, and I had a farm and raised livestock. That's why I got into fiber business first.
okay.
And then after that, when I was in New Mexico, I took a class in film editing, and then I studied filmmaking online, basically. And this is my third movie. Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
Is it so? If this is your third movie, are they all documentaries, or have you done a
they're
little
all
bit?
documentaries,
Okay.
basically. The last movie was called Ravenna Weavers. It's about how textiles are produced. It basically tours. It's a studio tour of bunch of textile artists in our area again, showing what it takes to produce textile and what's involved. That's one. The first one I made was a very short film. I used my phone when we lived in New Mexico during the pandemic time.
Oh, okay.
To show what was it like to live in the pandemic. Just what people did during that time.
Well, you come a long way from doing a pandemic film to doing a film on textiles to doing one on bonsai, the Bonsai Whisperer. That is a huge difference in subject matter. I was just did your other film, was it as educational as this one was?
As educational, yes.
Yeah.
My goal is to basically promote the type of art that people see every day, but they don't realize what it takes to produce.
Interesting. That's very interesting. And that I'm hoping that when people watch this, they realize that that's a great goal to have as a filmmaker. If you are looking for a subject for your nonfiction films, pick something that you enjoy, which is,
yeah, I'm an artist. I weave. I weave tapestries. You can see it behind me.
Yeah.
So, so as a result of that, I like to promote other artists.
So okay, very, very interesting. And one of the other things I now like is that the fact that you didn't originally come from a filmmaking background, you came from a different background and you just segued into film.
Sure.
I commend you for that one because you picked a subject that most other people may not have known anything about before tackling it. Because that could have gone a completely different way for a person who didn't come from a film and school background like that. And that's
I'm still learning. So
you're learning. And one of the great things you mentioned is your first film was a pandemic film that you shot on your iPhone, which a lot of people were doing because they wanted people to see what it was like. Even though I think that there was a lot of films like that done within the span of like 2 years, 10 years from now, people are going to look back at that and wonder how people got through one of the biggest natural disasters experience, So I think that will ultimately have a long-term effect on not only filmmakers, but on people who are curious about knowing what it was like. Our kids who, like I have a 5-year-old kid now, he doesn't really understand what it was like to live through the pandemic, but 10 years from now, he'll be able to have this type of footage available for it.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah. So what did your subject think about you wanting to make a film about his bonsai art?
Well, he as you saw in the movie, he's a pretty good speaker and he's an artist himself. He plays music. You saw at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he volunteered for that. He was very excited to do that. So, and I like to make things that people are natural in natural setting. So he's not acting, he's just himself.
Well, he made for a very good instructor/teacher. As I was watching it, I kind of realized maybe I should get in the bonsai. Dude, that'd be a good idea for my backyard, because my backyard's a mess.
Well, you probably don't have time for that.
No,
it's 24/7.
Lately I don't. And when you watch the film, you'll realize how much time and effort he puts into his art. But the results were amazing.
The results are beautiful. Definitely.
It's hard to believe that he had to sell. He sold a lot of it though.
Well, he wanted to give me some of his bonsais, and he didn't sell them. He just gave them away.
Oh.
Yeah, he just gave them away to somebody. But he wanted to give me some. I said, I don't have time. I travel and I do things. They require constant maintenance. Basically, you can't take a trip for a week and come back. Oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
Rotate them, lighting, watering, all this.
Well, especially if you live in somewhere that will freeze over.
That's true.
You have to take care of that stuff. You can't just.
In the wintertime, he brings them all in.
Yeah.
And then.
Well, but he has all that lighting inside to keep to still maintain the same atmosphere as though it was outdoors. So.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what did you find difficult about this film, except for in addition to the time constraint you had to film it?
Well, I had the initial time constraint. The other thing that was difficult was I could only take the set. You saw that this set he designed. sometimes he would lay that out, and then I said, "Wow, I really need to take another shot." And oh,
Oh,
that's gone. He would just wrap it up. I'll come back the next day, and the set was gone. So that
well,
was a challenge.
and he
Uh,
said that it'd be
time
different every
constraint.
time he set it up too. So,
It takes time to set it up, and like when he was pruning the one of those bonsais,
mm.
that's something he does once. It's not like he wants to do that to all his plants. So I only had one shot at taking that. And
uh,
because he's not an actor, you can't tell him, "Oh, we need to repeat this." So yeah,
uh, well, that's when you pull out the cell phone to get that other angle.
right. Yeah,
No, but that's interesting because unlike some arts that you can go back and reshoot and repeat, this is one in which like you said, he'd set up these elaborate little sequences in his kitchen or in
right.
another room in his house, and then once he took it away, it would never be the same. It'd be something completely different the next time he did it.
That's true. Yeah, that was a challenge.
Oh wow, I didn't think
That's a
about
challenge that I think working with a subject in documentary because they're not actors,
that. Yeah,
do whatever they want to do. And he's not reading from a script. I gave him the script just to give him a guideline, but he's
yeah.
doing it something.
Oh my God. But you're right. That's one of the things about shooting documentaries. And the thing about it is most of the documentaries I've shot myself have been behind the scenes documentaries for other people's projects. And so I kind of, fortunately or unfortunately, how you look at it, I'm working with a lot of actors already. It was a little easier for me to get them to repeat certain things that when I see a shot, it's like, oh, wait, can you repeat that again? Because
Yeah,
that was a beautiful shot. But with this, you can't because you're not working with an actor. And two is you're working with something that changes it's morphing as he's doing it. Like he's
right.
pruning bonsai. He can't go back and redo that because you thought you saw an excellent shot from a different angle.
Yeah,
Oh,
one thing I was hoping to get was different seasons, but since he wrapped up his business or his project, I can't get that anymore. So that
that
was
would have been interesting.
getting a different, fall or winter,
Yeah.
because they
Huh.
would have a different look to them.
Okay. Well, that kind of brings up an interesting question. Then, what are you planning on doing after this film? Or would you want to do like a sequel to this film? Because the idea of even if he doesn't do the same bonsai trees because they're all gone, would you want to do something very similar to see different seasons of this art, or would you just tackle another industry like you did the textiles and then this one?
Like the textile I work on, I only create things once. So because if I do it again, it won't be as interesting in me. I won't be motivated. But if I do something new, I have the motivation.
Motivation. That's a
I'll probably do something new. But I haven't found the actors or the volunteers to do that yet. So
no. That's that. I could honestly say this is the only. I haven't actually gotten a lot of films in the 5 years we've been doing this film festival on actual. I don't know the perfect word to describe exactly what type of a film this is. It's an educational, like there's a word for people who do things with trees and gardens. I just can't think of it. For the life of me. But I don't think I've gotten any films like this one that has been educational like this. Usually they have some type of a political bent that's not designed to be educational like this one is. And I actually, now that I've seen your film, I actually wish I would see more films like this because I just realized that there's not enough of these type of films being made out there. It'd be interesting to see the textile one now.
yeah. Oh, yeah, you should definitely watch that one. I can send you a link.
Um, the thing is, every time I do this film festival, I'm always talking to filmmakers who do different types of things, or they don't realize they're doing something that I've never seen before. And I've been watching films. I've been watching indie films for like a
Oh,
whole. I think we've been doing film festivals for 11 years now, so I've watched a lot of indie films. But one of the things is that I always come across something I've never seen before, or something that's new to me. I talked with a filmmaker earlier, and he was doing an experimental nonfiction film, and I've never seen that before. I like to see people engage in different ways of telling stories. An educational one, I believe, would be something I just don't get a lot. I mean, I just don't see that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they're out there,
They're out there. Yeah. There are lots of educational.
but I'm
Um,
trying to figure out if they send them to film festivals or if they have a particular like what is your ultimate audience for this? Are you trying to get it into schools? Are you trying to get it? Is it just film festivals? Like I have talked with filmmakers who have specifically made films for like an industry, like they're sending it out to people in that industry, and it's not designed to be like a theatrical film or a film festival film. But
I
yours
was
is
sent it to film festivals to basically get some recognition and get some feedback. And the next step would be it's basically for educational purposes. So whoever wants to promote it, would be good.
what I like to hear is the word that you just said, which is feedback.
Yeah. Yeah, feedback's always good.
Well, the thing is, we want people to be able to watch your film so you can get feedback because we hope that every filmmaker who submits a film to us goes out there and shoots another film. And sometimes getting that feedback helps you grow as a filmmaker and progress as in your filmmaking skills. And so that you make a better film each time you do it. You may want to you did one in the pandemic, then you did one on textile art, and then now you've done the bonsai art, and I'm sure that your next one will be just as ambitious and
I
educational.
hope so. I hope so.
Are there any other? Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
know a lot of the film festivals that I have sent things to, they're looking for, like you said, some kind of political message. And I was just trying to stay away from that and just do the art.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I see a lot of. I like the art. I like the fact that the educational thing. I think there needs to be more of these films out there in terms of educational. You're not taking a stance. You're being educational because, like I said, I've never seen one on bonsai, the art of bonsai. And so this was very different for me. I've seen a lot of films, but never one about this. And so the thing is, I'm hoping the audiences come and they watch your film and they realize it's an educational film and it's an achievable art. Like
Definitely.
you've just shown people how it's not easy, but it's an art that anyone can do. If you want to put your heart,
Time and effort, and
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And then that being said, your film is like that. It's one of those films that just kind of, and I think when watching it, some people will understand your subject a little more. But the I can't remember his name. Oh, I hate that I can't remember his name. What was his name?
Ron.
Ron. I keep saying Ron. I hope people will understand Ron's love of what he was doing before. Unfortunately, he closed the doors. But thankfully, he gave them all away because I would hate to see what had happened
He
with.
hasn't given all of them away. He still has some, but he cut back on his
He's cut back
inventory.
I mean, you show in the film that he has the big one in which he let the seeds fall and he grew the seeds, and he tells you exactly how long he's been growing it. So this is a story in which this is not fast. This is a time.
No, you saw one of those. It took 4 years and still in process.
So it's a hobby and an art that just takes time and patience.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think of other questions to ask, but the thing is, your film is very. I think when people watch it, they will understand everything they need to about the art. I keep saying the art of growing bonsai tree because I don't know the best way to describe it.
No, that's perfectly fine. Yeah. That is
I
art of growing bonsai.
I keep wanting to create another word for it other than that. And I'm thinking maybe that's just a perfect phrase for it, the art of growing bonsai trees. But I want them to take away also the fact that when you see your result, not only the oasis that's in the backyard that he has, but the the forests that he creates in his house, the art pieces, because it's two different things. He creates these little art pieces that can be displayed in his house, which are just there for a limited amount of time, and then he'll work on something new. But his garden, his oasis in the backyard, is also a much larger canvas that he's created.
So he was talking about in California, he came from California, that people will call in. They had a party. They would call in and for these bonsai trees, and we'll bring them in and set it up as a decorative piece.
That seems crazy to me, though.
Yeah.
But bonsai trees have this weird allure, I guess. That's why when I go to the Japan Fest here in Georgia, there is a guy here who's been coming here for years who has these massive bonsai trees and massive displays that he shows people. And
When is that festival?
I think it is right before October. So what is that month? October, September. I think it's in September, and like I work at Gas House District here in Georgia, and Japan Fest is this huge cultural thing that takes place over the course of an entire weekend. And the guy comes in every year, and he has these massive displays of bonsai trees that he sells, but he also helps people who want to get into that art. Watching the film, I understand all the tools that used at the time it took to actually achieve what this guy was just showcasing for like 3 days. I'm sure now that this guy at our show has this massive oasis in his backyard, just like him, where he's growing all these trees. And I didn't think about it. It's the things that I never think about until you see something like this.
Yeah, even watering. I mean, usually when you water a plant, you just go in one direction. He saw that he was doing it from all directions.
Yeah, which I found very interesting, but also the way in which he said the pots in the soil, it just goes through much faster. So you water them from all the different areas. And see, the techniques he used is stuff I wouldn't have known just by go talk to the guy at the fest. So I don't know, how long is your filming at festivals now?
The film that I made.
Yeah, Bonsai Whisperer. How long has it been making the festival rounds?
Since July, I think.
Oh,
since earlier.
okay.
Last July, been making around. Yeah.
Okay, so eventually, I'm sure when your film has finally stopped making the festival rounds, it will be educational for people to be able to have access to it on YouTube and other social media and streaming platforms. I want to make sure I get all those right because like we've been saying, it's an educational film and it's a very artistic film in regards to showing this art for people who have never heard of it or never seen it or never experienced it for themselves and just seen it in movies as a table piece.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So that being said, is there anything you would like to leave people who are watching your film an ideal in regards to what they should take away or what you hope they will take away when watching your film?
I hope they take away what it takes to produce bonsais. And this film has been educational, and I look forward to getting their feedback.
Yeah. I can hear that. I hope that everyone has enjoyed listening to us talk about the art of bonsai gardening and creating your own oasis in your backyard or front yard, wherever you want to put it. I think it's a very interesting concept, especially since my garden is overran with weeds and everything else because I don't have time to go out there. But if I did, I would definitely take part in this because it's beautiful. But I do like to stress that for filmmakers out there that creating educational films that inform people about stuff that they may have no experience with, such as the textile industry, textile arts, bonsai, the art of growing bonsai, and other arts like this are very well needed. We also need to support the people who make these type of films because we want them to get out there to as many people as possible so that people are educated about these. Without this education, we can't keep continuing to make these amazing films, and we can't continue to learn about some of the stuff that gets overlooked sometimes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me part of your festival, and thank you for the interview.
I thank you for joining us, Cameron. Everyone out there, I want you to enjoy the film Bonsai Whisperer, and go out there and seek out any of the other films that we have out there for our Something Wicked DocuFest 2024. Also, remember to check out our social media platforms and all that good stuff because we're going to be posting some extra links to some of the other stuff that you can go out there and find more information about because it's all about learning and getting more information in order to understand the not only the art of filmmaking, but the art that is displayed within these films. So thank you so much for joining us on Something Wicked DocuFest 2024. Have a great experience watching these films these weekend and have a pleasant day.
Thank you.